Well, that's going to be probably on Friday because it would lead into the weekend.
Well, we could do that now because
all right. Well, happy Mother's
I'm a mother.
I know. Happy Mother's Day. Early. It's weird to say it that early.
No, we mothers deserve it, just like you dads.
Okay, you're right. I apologize.
Yeah. The camera. Do you have a new HD camera in studio? Because it's like zooming in, zooming out.
Oh, is it? Oh, sorry.
For all those on terrestrial radio, you should see us. We're having a good time. And if you would like to, we're on YouTube as well. All you have to do is go to YouTube 1150 and you'll see us goofing off on YouTube.
I seem pretty stationary unless it's, I don't know, maybe it's the internet feed.
You know what? It's focusing on your mic and not your face. Oh. That's what it's doing. Yeah.
Is that better?
There. Hi. Oh, look at Benny. You're so cute.
All right, enough about me.
Mary's probably wondering what in the world did she get herself into? This is Gratitude Cafe, you guys. That is my superstar, Benny. He makes it all possible. He is my producer and AKA Superman. All right, guys, it's Gratitude Cafe. It is Tuesday morning. It is beautiful outside in Bend, where I am. It's sunny. It's gorgeous. It's warm. I'm going to go hiking again today.
With Mr. Smith or on Mr. Smith?
Both.
I called you out.
I know. I love doing that. I saw your post because I posted, and you know, he's my solid rock.
Yeah, but you made it sound like you're with someone, not something.
I am. I'm with Mr. Smith.
Sure you are.
Mr. Smith State Park. It's a rock. It's stunning and gorgeous. You and the boys should go. It's incredible.
Right there. Okay.
Oh, so beautiful. All right, Gratitude Cafe. We are here to give you new perspective, new thoughts, new ideas, and of course, let's reclaim you. Let's revive you as I'm trying to talk at the same time here. And of course, with anything that I do myself or the guests that I bring on, you take what resonates with you. I bring this, meaning myself, other guests to this platform so you have a new perspective, new thoughts, new ideas, a squeaky wheel, something that's going to be like, oh, that totally resonated. And whatever it is, that's totally fine. And if it doesn't, leave the rest. That's totally beautiful all in itself. And I wanted to remind all of you that we've started the C2C, the mini live C2C. And it was a great first day yesterday. We had a bunch of people, international tribe. And if you want to be a part of the C2C, you can do that. You'll have to wait, I believe, until the next mini live that we do. If you want to jump on the website and do the online course by yourself, you're welcome to do that. And of course, I'm available for one-on-one coaching if you'd like to do that. So if you want to shed beliefs, fears, illusions, your shadow side, all those experiences, and have real life, real-time self-regulating tools, I'm your girl. I can absolutely help you do that. My passion is to break down the Rubik's Cube of personal development and make all this juicy, creative wisdom simple, usable, and retainable. Because I know when we're in fight or flight and our nervous system is acting up, we don't need the Rubik's Cube of information to make it all better. Just simple little bite-sized pieces, and I help you do that. So you can go to SueLundquist.com/C2C, or just go to SueLundquist.com if you want the newsletter, copy of the radio, and or any kind of information that I provide or my guest provides on the radio. So with that, we are going to welcome our guest today. Benny, thank you so much for bringing Mary to the table with us today. We're going to be raining. Do you know what that is? Raining, a guide to ruling your inner kingdom and self with grace, power, and authority.
Bam.
Do I feel like it's... I know. Mary, welcome, love. Hi.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. This is so exciting. I'm a big fan of your show.
Thank you. Okay, so let me do your bio, and then we're gonna, because I'm gonna do that because it's the formal thing to do, and then we're gonna love on you and get to know your energy and do all of this, because this is super cool. I'm excited to jump into this because it's different. It's so unique, right? It is so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. All right, and it's Krygiel, like eagle, but Krygiel.
Krygiel like eagle, you got it.
Krygiel like eagle. Mary Kyrgiel earned her master's degree in acupuncture in 2011 and went on to become a board certified licensed acupuncturist, classically trained in the law of 5 elements, which we are going to be talking about. It was through her most important role as a mother of 2 young, happy Mother's Day, a role as a mother of 2 young adults that she first realized that the increasing pressure to conform to a false positive persona on social media. Correlating this newfound insight with her knowledge of 12 meridians of the energy led her to the most profound work, the writing of this book. Ring. For those of you on YouTube, that's what I'm doing. I'm holding up the book. I'm like, put it in quotation marks. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, yes.
Okay, I do the formal bio, but let's get to know you. Let's tell me how this beautiful guide came to fruition.
Absolutely. So, I am an acupuncturist, and there's such wisdom in this ancient medicine, the Chinese, thousands of years ago, they studied nature, and that's the roots of the medicine that they chose. And I think the point of this book is, how can I translate this ancient medicine to modern times where it makes sense for people, where they can find useful tools and ways to help them kind of guide them through life. And so the intention of the book is really to take these ancient principles, which are rooted in nature, and apply them in a way that's accessible for a modern person walking around. And so
breaking it down, right? Simplicity, right? You have to.
Exactly. Simplicity. And it's a little bit different, this book you mentioned, because it is a book. There's certainly a narrative component to it, but it's highly illustrated. And there's also a meditation component. So it's a bit unique in that sense. It's not.
Oh, the whole book is very unique. It's like a book, a journal, a meditation. I don't even know all the adjectives to put in there, because it really is. And it's simple. I mean, there's a lot of information in there, but it's simply delivered. If that, right? That totally makes sense.
That's exactly it. Yes. And that was my intention.
Well, you did it. It was perfect. And I love this. The kingdom of the superpowers. Whoa. Yes. Do you want to start there and talk about that?
I would love to. Love to. So the idea, the ancient Chinese 2,000 years ago, they lived in a kingdom infrastructure, and that was their way of looking at life. So they saw nature, and they took that kingdom infrastructure and they said, wow, this is what we see outside. Each person is their own kingdom in and of themselves. And within each person's kingdom, they have all these workers. In acupuncture terms, it's called meridians. So what I did, the intention of this book is, it is nonfiction, certainly, but I put kind of a magical realism component to it. The idea being, let's immerse yourself in your own kingdom, kind of to dive into this medieval metaphor that I've created, and meet the meridians, or the energy workers, as people, as characters. So that's the intention behind it.
And I love that, because audience, do you hear what she's saying? She's created a storyline based on the meridians and giving you, it's like a real life analogy and storyline to help you break down the Chinese wisdom that can be very confusing, which is super juicy. I love it. It was brilliant. It's brilliant. Yay!
Thank you.
Yes.
And I took the medieval kind of kingdom because I'm a fan of Game of Thrones, and I loved that sort of storyline. And I like the idea of kind of immersing yourself into a different world to kind of understand modern society and then step back. It's an interesting infrastructure. So that was the intention. That's why it is certainly nonfiction, but it's certainly a walk through, a journey through a medieval kingdom, which is representing yourself.
And I love that. And the different kingdoms, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's the meridians, the characters versus the
correct.
Kingdom. You've got the kingdom, and then the meridians are the different, air quotes for radio world, kingdoms. So let's walk through that for the audience, and let's kind of dance through the book a little bit and talk to them about the characters and why it's important for them to understand that, because the meridians, I love acupuncture. I can't tell you. And it really helped my daughter with her, they're all grown now, but my youngest had a really bad concussion. And one of the treatments, because I'm not a big pill mentality, was the meridians and cupping, all of that. And it helped, but she was just like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. But I'm like, it's okay. Because it helped her. She knew that. It totally helped her. I can tell you some really fun, and I talk about the acupuncture of it, but let's go back to the book and let's talk about all those meridians and why it's important from your professional standpoint as well.
Well, and I love you sharing that, because it is such helpful medicine. And people think physically, how can it help me physically? But the Chinese saw each person, and we know this, that, each person has their emotional component as well, and their mental component. So the meridians, which is the energy force, so the Chinese determine that there's a life force within each of us called qi. And that qi comes in 12 different, I'll call them highways. They call them meridians. And it's one continuous loop of energy in your body. So there's 12 of them. So there's 12 workers within your body that help to serve to function on a physical level, an emotional level, and a mental level. Well, the book that I wrote is really more intended to kind of address some of the spirit of the emotion and the mental component. So the Chinese modeled this framework after what they saw in everyday life, which is nature. And so there's, all the different seasonal changes that they witnessed on the earth. And they broke these 12 meridians into each season. So each season of time has a time for use of one of these meridians. Or said more plainly, there's an appropriate time to kind of act or be or listen that will help you kind of navigate life more easily. The idea being you want to flow with the natural flow of this energy force rather than fight it. And I think we all have had that.
That's a good metaphor for life in general, because when we're in flow versus contraction, whether it's, and this is a metaphor, guys, but Mary's talking about for your energy body, B-O-D-Y, that's important to have that fluidity and to have that flow. And it's also important to have that in 5D and 3D for, and if it's contracted, take a look at that. If you've got contracted energy here in your body, take a look. If you've got contracted energy in your emotions with somebody, take a look at that. So this is brilliant. Okay, go ahead, Mary. Sorry, I just had to do a little segue.
No, and that's exactly it though, Sue. You said it so well. I mean, one thing I learned in acupuncture school, and it sounds so simple now, but it's really, really good medicine. And I think you said this, is our bodies are so wise and they never lie to us. So when you're feeling uncomfortable, when you're feeling, as you've said, contracted, there's something your body is telling you. It's not going to lie to you. No. So I think the idea being behind, like, always be listening, right?
That's really important. And we can have that conversation and then get back to the book, the awareness and the listening aspect, because we're in and you talk about that in your bio, we're in a society of a lot of stuff. Whether it's social media, whether it's stimulation of TV, whether it's the COVID or, I don't even like bringing attention to it, but it's the stuff, right? And there's so much stimulation going on. Slowing yourself down in 3D, taking some breaths, finding an acupuncturist that will help you with your meridians, and meditation can be gardening, meditation can be grounding and walking, whatever that is to get your body back to homeostasis is going to be, I don't even know the word I'm looking for. It's just, that's it. I mean, to keep yourself in that flow so you can make appropriate choices, have clear conversations. So if that's important to you, wouldn't you agree, Mary? And there's benefits to the book. There's benefits to the acupuncture. There's benefits to creating that homeostasis in your body. So audience, people that are listening, if it is important to you to have clear minds, clear body, effective communication versus snipping or being triggered, being unconscious. This is a great book to talk to you about the meridians that are in your body. And it breaks it down. Like I told you, I'm passionate about breaking down the Rubik's Cube of personal development. And Mary did that in this book, and she created it as a kingdom. It's your inner kingdom. You have the power, you have the right and the responsibility and honor to take care of your body. And that's what this book is helping you do. I love that.
Yes.
And I think it's an important conversation to remind people that you're stimulated. Hang on. There's a lot going on, and that's okay. That's not a judgment thing. We're all here to tell you that in love, or to remind you, that wisdom within yourself, but we keep going and going and going and going.
That's exactly it. And the one thing the ancient Chinese witnessed is that nature is change, right? Everything is changing every single moment.
Yes.
So, and one of the few things we have control over in this modern life is how we show up, what we say, what we act, how we act, what we do. Those are things. And so the purpose of this book is to say, hey, if you have 12 meridians, or as I express, 12 workers, that are there to serve you in your body, are you choosing the appropriate way of being in each moment? Could you choose differently? So, we all know kind of how to present ourselves. Like in a party, you're happy, you're joyful. At a library, you're kind of quiet and contemplative. And, at a funeral, you're solemn and you're grieving. So cultural norms and societal norms have told us how to adjust ourselves. But I'm taking it a step further, and I'm saying there are, the ancient Chinese proved, 12 ways of being, and there could be tiny shifts in each day that if we maybe just took a moment, like you were saying, and had a mindful time and said, how am I showing up right now? How do I feel in my body? Is this serving me at this time? So that's the intention behind it.
I love it. Is this serving me at this time? And Mary, I love this conversation because and this isn't about me, but my C2C class is exactly that. It's reclaiming the essence of you from a 3D standpoint. And I bridge 3D and 5D. So I take in the modalities exactly of your profession, because they're all different pieces of the big puzzle of your kingdom, just like you talk about in your book, Rain. And it's important that people, and I alluded to this at the top of the hour, it's important that people, yes, I bring all these beautiful guests like yourself on here, and it's new perspective, new thoughts, new ideas, but you take what resonates with you. It's like trying on hats, right? And you, from your profession as well, even tapping into a meridian, you tap once and you're like, how you doing? Let's go all the way. And then there's going to be the flood of energy, depending, that's the metaphor for life. Are you going to tap in just a little and hang there? That's totally okay. Or going all the way in. I kind of went off on a squirrel there, but you know what I'm talking about, audience. I hope I made that clear. Yes,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is that everybody will show up differently, and I think I love the idea that we're all our own unique, beautiful people that have so many gifts inside of us. So the intention of writing this book is really to say, if you have 12 beautiful super suits or ways of being, are you using all of them? Or are you kind of getting stuck maybe in one way of being?
Let's have that conversation right there. That's beautiful right there. Let's have that stuckness, that conversation of how you walk through that. Can we do that?
Yes. Yes. And you know how this came to me, and this is a silly example, but we were on a family trip, and it was a tour bus, and it was a week-long thing. And the first day, everybody sits in a seat on the bus. And then the next day, everyone kind of sat in the same spot. And then throughout the bus tour, people get very comfortable with where they've placed themselves. So, or in a classroom environment, you find that you're sitting in the same seat, and people, you might have the class clown, or you might have the smart one. People start labeling each other and themselves, and you can get stuck, right? And so the idea behind this is to say, if you're really stuck in one way of being, there's 11 other ways you could choose, let's explore that. So
let's talk about those, 12 characters, 12 meridians. And I think it's going to be an important conversation to define what they are. So people can really noodle on that and go, oh, okay. And then of course, pick up your book and go through the steps. But yeah, let's start there. And then in a few minutes, we'll take a break and then we'll go. So let's talk about the 12 meridians, why they're so powerful. We don't have to talk about all of them, but if we have the time, let's do it. We'll go through it.
That's great. That's great. So they're all modeled after the seasons. So there's 12 of them, but let's break it down by what I call their realms, their elemental realms. So each season has an element that's tied to it. So for example, we'll start with summer. Summer is a time where people want to connect. They want to be outside. The weather is warmer. So that summer component is connected to the element of fire, because the fire energy is variable. And if we think about our interactions with people, they're very variable. You can have a very small heart-to-heart with your best friend, or you can have a crazy party, backyard party with 100 people. Lots of different ways that we can interact with each other. So within this fire realm that I'm describing, there are 4 of these characters, and it's all about interacting with people. So I take the medieval metaphor of the kingdom, and I say, what if there's a huge castle in the center that's representing your heart? But at the far, far reaches of that, there's an outer wall that protects this castle land. And that I call, that meridian is the outer gatekeeper. There's actually an acupuncture point for that. And I equate that to, in modern society, whenever we have to interact with someone where we don't have established friendship or, a close relationship, kind of like social media. Whenever someone wants to friend you, for example, any interaction with a person tests your outer boundaries or your outer gate. And you have to make that decision. Are you going to let that energy in, or are you going to close the gate? So the outer gatekeeper is that person that kind of, it's the people you see every day, maybe a store, clerk or your neighbor, not someone you're real close with, but you have to interact with.
All right, the gatekeeper. All right, well, hang on a minute. We're going to do that. We're going to tease the audience just a little bit. We're still live on YouTube, but we're going to take a quick commercial break. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about the different responsibilities and the power within that as well. We'll keep talking about the different realms. We've got fire, earth, metal, water, wood, all of these, and then other components that are inside there, and the characters that Mary's calling the meridians. And we'll get back to that in just a minute. Sue Lundquist here with the Gratitude Cafe. We'll be right back, you guys.
Cool. All clear. Still on YouTube, everyone.
Hi, YouTubers. Yay. Check this out. And you know what, Mary, having the conversation about the responsibility is super powerful, right?
Yes. And you probably have a lot of that with what you do. And how do you approach that conversation around responsibility?
Responsibility, accountability. Well, and there's different arenas or areas that I work in. So the responsibility with the energy realm, the 5D, whether I'm doing energy facilitation or psychic readings or stuff, that's a huge honor. And I always ask permission, because that permission relaxes the nervous system. I can then say, if I have your permission, and you tap into that energy, just like you would ask permission for the body, you're asking your patient, and the body seems to relax. And then if you feel a bit of tension, we'll go, okay, let's ask that question again. Let's get you into that state where it's okay. I want you to feel safe, right? And then after we do that, it's then their responsibility to take whatever resonates. Did I answer your question?
You did beautifully. I thought that was great. Yes, absolutely. No, yeah, I think that's brilliant.
Yeah. And I'm a big proponent or supporter of the Buddha philosophy of that accountability and responsibility of everything that happens in your life, everything. And like I alluded to earlier, I take bits and pieces from all different modalities to fit what my soul and how I want to show up. And I love that conversation in your book and how you are saying that, and I talk about this all the time. It's like, who are you? How are you showing up in the world? And your book and the meridians are helping with that balance, you know?
And is there a way that you can shift to be maybe more of your authentic self, right? It's that call to kind of say, am I being the best person I am, or have I created a story that this is who I am?
Let me interrupt you there. I got to bring you back on here.
All right, here we go. Ooh, we're going to have that conversation on the radio, Mary.
Okay.
Woo! Benny, thank y'all. Well, superstar. Welcome back, superstar. I know.
That's your Halloween outfit. No, wait. That is your Halloween outfit. If you can pull that off this next year.
Done.
Are you going to do it?
Sure. Done.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
I know exactly who you're talking about. Come on.
Yes. That would be her.
You knew exactly where I was going with this. Oh, Mary, welcome to Sueville and the Gratitude Cafe and the Benny and Sue show. Oh, there's kind of rhymes there. The Benny and Sue, the Benny and I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it made me giggle, and that's what it's all about. Welcome back, you guys. See, the meridians are all lit up, Mary. It's all fun and it's just beautiful.
I love it.
Yes. Yes, this is how we love and inspire people through radio and YouTube, of course. Really good conversation on YouTube during the break. That responsibility, accountability, the honoring of the body and the honoring of the permission, not only for yourself, but us as practitioners, honoring that and asking permission, and you taking that responsibility and accountability for that. Let's dive into, and I know we were talking about the different realms, but there was a really powerful conversation on YouTube, and we were talking about, and the top of the hour, we were also talking about the different illusions that come up, that we have roles that we think that we have to play, and getting really, right. And walking through your book, Rain, A Guide to Ruling Your Inner Kingdom of Self with Grace, Power, and Authenticity, is a great guide to walk you through looking at that essence, that true, big anchor words for me are authentic and genuine. Is this true to me? Is it authentic and genuine? Those are the big questions, because it's a big, meaty, authentic and genuine. You can feel it energetically, 3D, 5D, right? For me, at least. And where I'm going with this is, and Mary and I were talking about this during the break, that permission, that responsibility, and having that genuine awareness that you are out of alignment, and that's okay.
Yes.
And the book walking you through that, Mary, you go through, you talk about that a little bit. I think that's so important.
Sure. I think, I guess the way I would put it is sometimes we've created a story for ourselves of how we should show up in the world. And it can come from a variety of different places. It can be, well, I need to be, I'm the quiet, shy one, or I'm not good at relationships, or I don't know why I can't find a partner in life, any type of story. And those kind of, they confine us, they put us in boxes, and they're not being really true. Anything that's limiting ourselves, right, on our path is an obstruction. So in acupuncture terms, it's a stoppage of the flow of life, right? You want to keep moving with the seasons. You want to keep continuing on, the seasons that change, winter, spring, summer, fall, like there's no stopping that, right? Nature is going to keep going.
Yeah.
And so we're part of nature. And I think that's the beauty and the medicine behind this acupuncture, is to recognize when you're feeling stuck, or when you're feeling that contraction in your body, that it's important to listen to it and to kind of honor that and say, well, we can make a change here. We can, shift something within ourselves. So
I think that's important right there, Mary. That is really key. I want to make sure the audience heard that language right there. It's okay when you have that awareness, you can take on the responsibility, give yourself, we're giving you the permission slip in the book, right? You can change. You don't have to have that illusion. You don't have to have that story. You really don't. And this book will help you walk through that from characters. And yes, please. I wanted to make sure the audience heard that, because that was super important.
That is a really good point. And it's also, I think, I'll speak for myself, I'm my own worst critic.
Oh,
really.
Aren't we all, right?
Aren't we all?
We live in the vessel, right?
Yes. And oftentimes in the treatment room, I'd be listening to people tell their story, and so self-judgmental, so hard on themselves. But then they would talk about their best friend and how much they love them and what they would do for them. And I would say, well, why would you be so giving and kind to your best friend if you're not going to give that same energy back to yourself? So the idea is, we have to start from a place of self-love, because we're all beautiful, unique, fabulous beings, and just say, hey, if I'm not, being in my best place at this time, that's not because I'm a bad person. That's not because there's anything wrong. It's just an opportunity. And I'm an even greater person than I'm showing up for as I am right now. There's a way to make my life a little easier and those around me.
Oh, right there. That was super juicy. Did you guys catch that? And going back to taking accountability and responsibility, everything. And there's a tool that I use, and it's called the CCs. Have compassionate curiosity for yourself and others within that, because it takes the sting out of it. I coined that a few years ago. I said it on the radio. I'm like, the CCs in life, compassionate curiosity. I'm like, that's brilliant. So yeah, it's so good. Use it, please. Have the CCs in life, just like you're talking about, because it's okay. You're shedding old beliefs, old illusions, all these, and it does. There's stagnant energy that's trapped in the meridians, in the body, the BODY, the nervous system. When you're getting triggered, like I'm sure as a practitioner, this, you see this on your table, and all of a sudden and I know this for myself. I was on a table, and I just started laughing, like there was like laughing and crying all at the same time, because and I couldn't stop, but it was the best release. And it's the same, whether it's joy and laughter, or it's tears and fear. Honor that. Get it out, allow the flow and I think that's important, to have that discernment and have that conversation. And I say that, and Mary, you can have this conversation or allude or add more to it, but reminding people, yes, they have permission, and they can use your new book and helping walk through the meridians and the energy, but giving them permission, and also saying, it's okay. You are okay. You're perfect just the way you are. And you have the tools. Yeah. It's totally okay. It's totally okay.
Yes, absolutely. So, and that's it. That's exactly it. The flow of energy, once it becomes obstructed, becomes a problem. And then you start to, not only do you feel uncomfortable, maybe emotionally and mentally, but physically over time, these types of things can accumulate and cause problems. So the point of the book is to kind of give yourself that permission to really just explore, to sit down, have a meditation, use these as tools to say, am I planning enough? Am I being considerate enough to myself and to others? And kind of try on these different, if you will, characters, and say, how am I using this? If there are 12 of them inside of me, am I using them all the best way that I should? Or am I forgetting to wear some?
Yeah. And why am I forgetting? Get curious. Ask yourself. I call it the essence of you. You could call it all these, I'm like, let's reclaim the true essence of who you are. Who are you? Well, shedding, right? That essence, that authentic and genuine. Is this true? Does this best serve me? And walking through your book and the essence of self and reclaiming that. And this is a great tool, and it's fun. It's clever, you guys. It's clever, because the kingdom is your body, but the kingdom and the characters of the 12 meridians is so fun. And you remember that. That's tactile, right? It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I love the illustrations in it. There's gorgeous artwork I have to call out. And, you know, it's a funny story how I found this illustrator. I feel like everything happens for a reason. Again,
just totally. Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I wanted to book, and I'm not an artist at all. And my neighbor, who has 2 daughters in art school who are genius, brilliant, creative ones, she said, Mary, you need an illustrator, and let me show you how you should find it. And so I found this illustrator with her help by going through school. There's 2 art schools that they go to on the East Coast, and looking at student artwork. And I pinged this one gal whose art resonated with me. And Sue, she lives in Korea. I've never met her. I've never spoken to her. It's all been through email.
I got goosebumps.
Yes. I mean, she could not have taken this vision and of what I was trying to create and made it more beautiful. Woo! So,
yes. What I'm doing for the radio world, we're on YouTube and I'm showing the illustrations. That's amazing.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. Rain. Go ahead. A guide to ruling, hang on just a second. Rain, a guide to ruling your inner kingdom of self with grace, power, and authenticity. So audience, ask yourself, do I want to get curious? Do I want to have fun? Do I want to create a new narrative in my brain and reclaim myself and walk through the different meridians? And do I want to live a life of flow and confidence and self-love and show up how I truly am designing it? This book is going to help you do that. And it's clever and fun, all of that. Please, I'm sorry, Mary, you were just getting ready to say something.
No, you said it beautifully. And actually you touched on something that I want to mention, and I think is really powerful. The idea of designing your life, you know, and the power behind that that we all have, instead of kind of going through life like automatons. This is what I have to do. This is what I'm supposed to do. This is what they want me to do. That concept of, you know, where can I show up and be my most authentic, and meditate on it, right? Have that internal dialogue in that moment. I love that word design. I think that's beautiful that you mentioned.
Yes. Design, reclaim, big words for me, you know, and coming from a situation of I'm a recovering people pleaser in my life. Right. And it's been a years of rediscovering and redeveloping those boundaries and that flow and not diminishing myself because of that. Right. And creating a different, and audience, I'm bringing this up because the book is going to help you walk through that and sharing my examples with you to show you it's possible. And I'm sure, Mary, you've got some similar things that have happened in your life, especially with raising kids. I've raised 3 daughters, and that's a petri dish of, I love you girls so much. But it is, I learned just as much from them as they do from me, if not more. Right. Let's go back. The trusted advisor keeps popping up.
Yeah, the trusted advisor. And I think that's a pretty timely one for today's times.
Yeah. Of course, that's why it's popping up. Go ahead.
Yes. And it's part of that thinking of what do I stand for? You know, where are my convictions and what is important to me in this life? And gosh, I feel like there's a huge awakening on earth where this is a big topic of conversation of, you know, there's some really powerful themes energetically and conversationally that are happening. And I think this is what this particular meridian speaks to. It's sorting through different patterns, different ideas, and saying, what are my convictions? What should I stand up for? You know, like what would serve my kingdom well? And I think that, you know, in acupuncture, you can get stuck in one way of thinking for a long period of time, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's with anybody, right? We get
with
stuck.
anybody.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think that the trusted advisor meridian that I'm speaking to is a sorting of what is most important to you and what guides your life, and sorting life's choices, for example, and choosing the appropriate one and the appropriate cause, if you will, and maybe questioning some outlets, some stubborn thoughts that you've had, some patterns.
I love what you say here. And it's page 25, guys, the trusted advisor. He who does not trust enough. Oh, yes. Did you guys hear that? I mean, flip that around. That's really noodle that. And when I hear that, I go into boundaries. I'm like, you teach people how to treat you, right? And if I am out there pleasing everybody else, how can I be trusted on what I truly and trust myself too, right?
Right.
Oh,
right.
So valuable.
And I think you touched on something there that's beautiful. It's the concept of boundaries, right? And in modern society today, I feel that this medicine is needed because boundaries have shifted a lot, I feel, with social media. I felt this when my kids were younger, young adults, and who's my friend on this Facebook, who's not, and, kind of where did the line go? Who is valuable for me to have in my kingdom and who's not? And, what lines will I draw? Will I always, I can do that for you. Yes, of course I can do that for you.
But also, Mary, and I think you would agree too. I heard this analogy a few years ago and I'm like, oh, that is brilliant. And I was just talking to a colleague the other day about it. And it's on the theme of boundaries. I'm going to segue just a little bit, because when you are reclaiming and redesigning your life, there are going to be different people that come and go, because you are, from where I'm going with this is, there are going to be people, I'm going to take me, for example, and I'm going to give you in the audience the analogy. There are going to be people at my dining room table. Then there's going to be people in my backyard and a picnic and all of that. And then there's going to be people on my front porch. And then there's going to be people at the mailbox, anywhere from the mailbox to the moon. And having that boundary and truly being okay with that. The old people, right? Because the old people pleaser and taking things personally and all of that, and being hyper aware of that. And it's okay that you're putting up those boundaries. You can do that from a nurturing, loving perspective for yourself and the other person, and give yourself that permission. And as it helps you with
where I feel, I can't be that. They're going to find me out, or I put myself in this position and I feel like I'm not worthy, and it's a lack of self-love or those types of things. And so I think it's important for us to kind of recognize that that's kind of a universal feeling, I think, amongst most people, is to feel like there are those moments of self-doubt, and that's okay. And that's all right. It's a growing, right? That's the
everybody. It's just, and I have this conversation a lot and the conversation is about love. It's about self-love. It's about loving human to human and reciprocating that. And I have found it quite interesting, because I love to love, loving on you, loving my audience, loving to love people, and sharing that essence, sharing that experience. That's a true essence of me, is to share love with boundaries, big boundaries now, but I will not shut my love down because of somebody else's fear, somebody else's doubt. And I think that's an important conversation, because, and I know this for myself, and I'll say, hey, I'm just loving human to human. And there'll be a little bit of pullback, like, I'm a little uncomfortable with that. What do you want from me? It's that societal, well, why are you loving me? And then there's this self-worth, or there's projection, or in like your book, there's a meridian that's a little wonky that we need to let it go.
That's right. That's
right?
Exactly it. Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
I think you said that beautifully. There is, why are we here on this earth, right? I mean, it's the love of one another, and that's it. That's what we'll remember when we're, taking our last breaths, is who was in my life, who did I love, who's most important to me. And to do that, I think we have a responsibility to be our best person and to, shift ourselves a little bit so that we can be our best version of ourselves to love those people.
Yes. Yeah. And audience, looking at that from Mary's book, like if we're looking at it from her book and using her book as a tool to reclaim yourself, I think it's really important that you guys hear what Mary's saying and what I'm saying, not only just this book, but you have the permission. You got a big permission slip right here in her book. And again, Mary, I keep talking about this, but it's so clever. It is so clever the way you created the characters as the meridians. And that is a tactile thing. I don't have a word for it, but it is retainable. It's easy. We talked about the Rubik's Cube of personal development, right? And that's why I love what I do, is because I break all that down and bring people on that say, oh, here, reign on yourself, your own kingdom, right? Let's recreate your kingdom.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. Yeah. I know that it is, it's a non-traditional book because there are, as I said in the beginning, components of illustrations. There's some meditations, some journaling aspects of it. But my intention was really for it to be kind of a journey, literally, through the book in your own kingdom, as an exploration of self-introspection and meditation, just an opportunity to love yourself and to say, wow, I'm really good at this. And I forgot I had these gifts too. So it's kind of a combination.
And not having, and I love that because you walk through all the steps, and not having the shame or guilt because you're not doing XYZ. It's not your MO. That's okay. The hat didn't fit.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Break.
I know, the CCs in life, compassionate curiosity, right? So how do they, that. I know the CCs, use it, please. The CCs in life. And that's the Craziness to Clarity event and workshop that I do too. So people can you can go to her website. Mary's website is www.reignbook.com. And that's www.reignbook.com. And go check out this book, you guys. It is so clever. And why not have authentic power and reclaiming yourself through a great, clever little storyline that you've got here. And the storyline, it's really clever, you guys, because it is your kingdom. And the meridians are your gatekeepers, there was a whole slew of different characters that we were talking about. And why not check them out? Why not look at it all again from a great little clever outlook? I keep saying clever because it's just so clever, because you get to, tell your own story. All right. I'm going to remind all of you again how to get a hold of Mary's book. Her website is www.reignbook.com. And if you want a copy of the show, please go to SueLundquist.com. For all those on YouTube, it's been an absolute delight. Mary, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been
wonderful.
It has. Thank you. And let me know when 2, 3, and 4 come out. Yay. All right. Oh, thank you so much. All right, you guys, I'll see you next week. You can go to SueLundquist.com to get all the information. With that, until next week, each of you are a gift. Get out there and share yourself with the world.